Us Ruiz here in Boyle Heights, California, catching up with one of the Marv Nation's young prospects, El Morenito, Nathan El Morenito Rodriguez. He's making his U.S. debut on August 27th in Pico Rivera. Talk to us about what this means to you and finally making your U.S. debut, Nathan.
It's definitely a big blessing. I'm excited to be able to finally make my U.S. debut. It's going to be in my hometown that I grew up in, Pico Rivera. So I'm very excited, to be able to fight in front of my family, my friends, because everyone's been wanting to see me finally fight live. Like you said, I have 8 fights right now. I'm 8-0. They've all been out of the country, at Costa Rica and Mexico and different parts outside of the U.S. So I'm definitely excited. I've been training hard with this amazing team that I have. This is going to be my 3rd fight with Coach G, Andy, and Mark, and also Coach Sanchez. So I've just been training really hard, and I'm excited to put on a show August 27th.
All right. You just mentioned your team. You just mentioned this is your first fight here in the U.S. Like I was telling you off camera, a lot of people may not know who you are, but they've seen you around at your dad's boxing promotions. Some people are very familiar with your brother. He's actually fighting on September 8th on the Marv Nation Golden Boy card on the Zone.
Yeah.
How did you guys grow up in boxing?
Well, actually, me and my brother, we played baseball most of our life. My brother actually was the one who started boxing first. At the time, I believe I was in middle school, about to enter high school, and I stopped playing baseball. But I like trying out new sports. I did basketball and stuff. So at the time, I wasn't playing any sports, and asked my dad actually to put me in the boxing gym.
How old were you?
I was 12 when I started.
Okay.
I was 12 when I started.
So 6 years ago then?
6 years ago, yeah. So I tried out boxing just to see how it was. I never really pictured myself to go pro or to come this far, but I tried it out, and the first day the coach told me I had a good form, a good style, and I believe it was about the 1st or 2nd week they had put me to spar with one of the kids from the gym, and he was very experienced, and I was able to keep up with him and land a lot of punches, and I did good. But just from the first sparring, I loved the feeling, the adrenaline rush, and I just kept training, and I wanted to do one amateur fight just to see how it was. And I ended up falling in love with it, and I just kept going.
How many amateur fights did you have?
I only did 10 amateur fights.
Okay.
10 amateur fights. I got a lot of my experience sparring with a lot of professionals or with kids with big amateur background. So I didn't have many amateur fights. I didn't have many experience or a lot of experience from the amateurs, but I did get most of my experience from sparring.
Your dad runs El Moreno Boxing Gym in Montebello. Your family runs it. Is that where you were getting most of your experience sparring some of these professional fighters?
I was training there actually before I started training here in Boyle Heights with Coach G. I was training in Montebello for I want to say about 2 or maybe 3 years, a little bit before the pandemic. Okay. That's one of the reasons why my dad let me go pro. My dad didn't want me to go pro.
Why is that?
Because I was still young. I was only 16 at the time. Like I said, I didn't have many amateur fights. But throughout COVID, since I was at our gym, I stayed in the gym and I was working out. I kept training and I was staying focused. And my dad seen that, and he allowed me to go pro. I did my pro debut in Costa Rica in January of 2021.
Okay. So 8 fights later, the U.S. debut is finally here. Mm-hmm. What have you learned throughout those first 8 fights in your young pro career?
I've learned a lot, definitely, out of those 8 fights. Right now I'm fighting. This is going to be my 3rd 8-round fight. So I'm moving up little by little, getting that experience because I know I didn't have many experience in the amateurs. So I try to take my time and get as many rounds in as I can and get that experience.
All right. Which of those first 8 fights was your toughest?
My 3rd fight in TJ.
Why is that?
Because there was a little mix-up when we got there. They had switched my opponent 3 times.
All right.
So we got there the day of the weigh-ins, expecting a fight that they gave the guy that they gave us, and then when we're going to the scale, they told us that he couldn't make it in, and there's some other kid, but we knew nothing about him. We didn't know his amateur background or anything.
So how do you get mentally prepared for that when you know nothing about your opponent?
Well, honestly, I was already focused. I knew I trained hard, so I didn't really care who I fought. I just wanted to fight. So we ended up taking the fight, and then the next day, the day of the fight, it's a whole totally new person, another fighter, and
right.
But at the time, I didn't really pay attention until after the fight. But when we're about to fight and we're doing the face-off, I noticed he was a little taller and his hair was a little different. But at the time, I wasn't really thinking about all that.
Right.
I just wanted to fight already. And that one was a 4-round fight, and that one went all the 4 rounds. But he was tough, and that guy, he had experience for sure.
Okay, so all those records from all these Mexican fighters, foreign fighters, they show like, let's say 3-20, or 5-15 and stuff. But in reality, they probably have over 20, 30 fights, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. And honestly, in boxing, you know, record doesn't mean anything, because a lot of those fighters go up against prospects, against guys who are coming up, tough fighters, you know, and sometimes they go the distance with them. So a lot of those fighters are tough. But like I said, we didn't know his amateur background. It was his debut, but I'm pretty sure he had a lot of amateur background, and he gave me he is my toughest opponent to date.
Do you look up to your brother? You guys support each other all the time here in the gym?
Yeah, most definitely. We support each other. I look up to my brother. You know, I'm always learning from my brother, and we like to motivate and push each other in the gym.
Okay. He just coming off a KO victory after his first professional loss. So how's your brother doing? First of all, I didn't get to see him today, but is there a chance that you guys may fight on the same card, maybe on a DAZN card later on in the future?
Maybe in the future. Yeah, we have fought in the same card already, but that was out of the country. Okay. But you know, God willing, we'll be able to fight on another card here. And yeah, my brother, his last fight, he got a KO. And that was his first fight with Coach G, Mark and Andy and Sanchez. And he looked like a totally different fighter. He looked very sharp, very strong. And I'm very impressed with his work and his fight, how he came out.
All right. To close up this interview, any last messages you wanna say to your local fight fans, all the city of Pico Rivera? Go ahead. This is an opportunity to express yourself and to come, so they can come see your fight.
I just want to say thank you to all the people who've been supporting me. Thank you to all my sponsors, and I want to invite you guys to come out to my fight August 27th at Smith Park in Pico Rivera. It's going to be a great night of boxing. There's going to be a lot of young talent on that card, and it's going to be a great night for sure.
There you have it, you guys, ladies and gentlemen. You heard it from the young man himself, Nathan Morenito Rodriguez, making finally his US debut August 27th in Pico Rivera. Thank you very much, and we'll be there to see you. Thank you.